Hi friends! Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca. This is my husband Murphy. We live and travel full-time in our 1969 Volkswagen bus. It's a big day. It's Murphy's first day on YouTube. Welcome to YouTube.
Hi.
So today we wanted to walk you through our top 5 essentials for van life. So we did a his and hers list. I put together a list of my top 5 things. Murphy has his top 5 things. And these are really things that go beyond the basics. So it's not really a list of things like you want to have water and toilet paper and curtains. It's more things that we found to add value to this lifestyle or make it a little bit more comfortable for us. So let's get started. There's chocolate on my tooth.
I don't see any chalk on your tooth.
No chocolate.
No. Do I have chalk on my tooth?
My number 1 is definitely our Vitamix blender. So when you don't have a full kitchen on board, it's helpful to have appliances that do more than one thing. So we have the Vitamix blender, which you can do like smoothies or soups, you can do hummus, we do peanut butter in it. So it's a really good multi-use appliance to have. The downside to the Vitamix blender is that it's a high-powered blender and it's like 3 horsepower. It takes a lot of power in order to use it. So we actually had to design our entire solar around the fact that I wanted the Vitamix to come with us. So we have a 200-watt solar panel on the roof. We have a 2,000-watt inverter in the back, which allows us to use the blender. The other downside to it is that it's kind of pricey. It's worth it to me just because of the things that you can do with it and the versatility of it. We bought a refurbished one, and I'll link down below to the refurbished Vitamix, which makes it a little bit more affordable.
So my number 1 has to be parts and tools. We drive a 50-year-old car. Things tend to break or wear out while we're on the road, and having the ability to fix those things just on the side of the road as opposed to having to call AAA or get a tow or something like that is really invaluable. Also, no matter what car you have, it's always a good idea to have a manual or 2 in our case on hand for when you don't have service. You can't look on YouTube for all those other great posters that have put something up that tell you how to do something. Or even when you do, it's nice to have something to refer to. We have the Bentley Volkswagen service manual and the classic John Muir's How to Keep Your Volkswagen Alive. Great references for us, but yeah, again, any car that you would be driving, good idea to have a manual for when you don't have cell service or something like that.
Number 2 is my yoga mat. So my yoga practice is really important to me, and I really wanted to have a mat with me while we traveled, but I didn't want it to take up a lot of space. So I ended up purchasing the Manduka Eco Light Travel. This is a great mat because not only does it fold up really small, but it's a good, durable, sticky surface to practice on. So I practice outdoors the majority of the time, so I wanted to make sure I had something that was durable enough for me to be able to practice on whatever surface our travels presented me with. So I really like this mat. It's a great all-around travel mat.
So my number 2 is the Kindle. I was really hesitant to get on board with the Kindle. I prefer real books with real pages, but after having used it and living this life, I found it to be invaluable. So it has a really long battery life, which I find great. You can read it at night. It's backlit, so I don't have to worry about keeping people awake while I'm reading. I don't have to have a light on or anything, which is also nice. We have Kindle Unlimited, which allows us to have 10 books at a time for $9.99 a month, which is great for somebody who reads as much as me.
Number 3. So my number 3 is a little bit twofold, both about produce storage. So the first part of it is a bamboo bowl. So this bowl is made of hemp, denim, and bamboo. It's really big, and I like the fact that it's a flexible fabric, which both allows you to put a ton of produce in there. I've had as much as like a dozen apples and 8 avocados and a whole bunch of bananas, and it fits it all, which is fantastic. I also like that it doesn't slide around while we're driving, so the fact that it's made of cloth versus a porcelain or a wood means that it's not going to move around when we're starting or stopping or driving around. The second part to my number 3 is the Veggie Bag. The Veggie Bag is complete magic. I just discovered it a few months ago, and it has changed my vegetable life. It's an organic cotton bag that you store vegetables in. So you keep it damp, which keeps the vegetables fresher longer, and we can just keep it in our cooler, and it extends the life, I would say probably 3 or 4 times the amount that we would normally get from our vegetables. The one downside is that it's white and it gets stained. So ours has gross strawberry and blueberry stains on it and like a bunch of dirt on it. So it is machine washable, but some of the stains just kind of stick around. And ultimately the best thing about the Veggie Bag is it reduces our use of plastic. So it doesn't take up any more space than a plastic bag would, but it keeps the vegetables fresher longer.
My number 3 is a Patagonia lined shirt. It's made of cotton and polyester. Super durable. I've had it about a year or so, and it isn't showing any signs of wear. I've had it underneath our bus in gravel. I've been rolling around in the dirt with it. Give it a wash. It looks just as good as new. One thing I love about this Patagonia lined shirt is its versatility. It's very warm when you want it to be warm. You can button it up and it holds heat really well. As it starts to warm up, unbutton it, and it seems to breathe pretty well as well.
And I actually have one of the lined shirts as well. They only make it in a men's. Come on, Patagonia. Patagonia is just a company we like to support. All their clothes are ethically made, eco-friendly, and the best part is they'll repair anything. We are pretty hard on our clothes. We don't have a lot of clothes. We have a pretty minimal wardrobe, so we wear the same thing all the time, which means we wear things out pretty quickly. So it's great that they'll repair any of their clothes as well. Number 4. My number 4 is Little Buddy. This is a propane heater. It's made by Mr. Heater. The model is Little Buddy. This thing is great because it throws a ton of heat without taking up a lot of space. So you can use it with any 1 pound propane canister. Perfect. It has 2 really great features. The first is that if you tip it over, it will automatically shut off. And the second is that it has a carbon monoxide detector in it. So again, in a small space, if you leave it running and carbon monoxide builds, it will automatically shut off. I will say I can't recommend this heater specifically. While it does a great job of throwing heat, we have had quite a few problems with the ignition of it. So it takes a few times to start up, if it starts at all. So it's kind of the last thing you want when you are freezing cold and just want to warm up, is to be fiddling with the ignition of something. So definitely recommend having a propane heater with you, but maybe not this exact one.
So my number 4 is a Shemagh. Given that we have limited amounts of space and clothing, you want something that's multifunctional. In the cold, it works really well as a scarf. As it starts to warm up, you can loosen it up a bit, get a little more breathing. In the warm weather, it works really well as a face covering for dusty areas or as a covering for the sun.
Number 5, Sea to Summit nesting pots. So when you're living in a small space, things that are either collapsible or nesting are crucial. These pots are great because not only do they nest inside each other, but the handle also folds down, so they take up a lot less space. They're also great because they are non-stick and very easy to clean. Doing dishes when you're living in a van is always a little bit of a challenge, so anything that is easy to clean is invaluable.
My number 5 is pretty simple. It's just a little journal that we keep in the glove box. While we're documenting our travels on YouTube and Instagram, it is nice to sit down at the end of the day and just write down what happened that day. We've already even looked back at the pages to kind of be like, oh, that happened then. Also in the back, we have all 50 states written out that we check off as we go through. So that's kind of fun too.
All right, so those are our top 5 his and hers van life essentials. Thank you so much for watching. I try and put out new videos every week, so make sure you subscribe to follow along with our travels. Bye, friends. Like I'm gonna leave that in there. What am I trying to say?
Fuck.
And I want to do yoga and things. I can't do this. Sorry.
You can do this! And scene. And you like it a lot.
Just trying so hard not to laugh.
Kindle Unlimited.
No.
Kindle thing. So my number 2.
Doing dishes is
delightful! Texas Department of Transportation, Texas DOT.
Are we gonna get in trouble right now?
Why?
I don't know.
What? Number 5.
Yeah, that was a little.
Done!